Yo, thank you to K Media for having us. I am joined by a very, very special guest. He goes by the name of Za. He is a presenter here on Reprezent Radio, but he is so much more. Tell us a little bit about you, please, my bro.
So I'm an artist, producer. I run several record labels, a record store, a record pressing plant, record distribution center, and everything fun about music. That's what I'm involved in.
Okay, so that's quite a lot about physical music, which is obviously a little bit more niche now. But you're here to tell us about everything digital in the digital
Yes,
web.
Sam. I'm here to talk about NFTs.
NFTs. From the beginning, just real quick, what is an NFT? Just the very basics.
It's a non-fungible token. That's what it stands for. But to understand what a non-fungible token is, we need to know what a fungible token is.
Bingo.
So a fungible token is it's not scarce, it's not rare, it has no transactional value in its exchange. So a good example of something that's a fungible token is a share price. A share. If I own 10 shares and you own 10 shares in, say, Reprezent, and we were to swap them over, there would be no transactional exchange there. There's no value in that transaction. So that's what a fungible token is. But a non-fungible token is the exact opposite of all of that. So it is scarce. It is immutable. So it means that it persists in the exact same way forever. It's rare. It's hard to find. It's counterfeit proof. And it's unique, so it cannot be replicated. That's a non-fungible token. If you were to make a print of it, that isn't the exact original. It's just something that replicates the NFT version of it in the physical realm.
Before we get into why they're important, like NFTs, and like where it could possibly go, you said it was part of the blockchain technology. Now, I do not know a thing about even crypto. Anything. I'm super behind when it comes to this kind of thing. Is there a way of you breaking down the blockchain and crypto and how this kind of works?
So in the traditional banking system, there's what's called a ledger. So this ledger keeps track of all the money that comes in and out of a bank. So if, let's say, I'm going to send you £50 from my bank account, which is in NatWest and you're with Santander, that £50 has to be deducted on this ledger, so it's recorded and sent over to your account. This ledger keeps track of every penny that comes in and out of a specific bank account. This ledger is private. We can't see it, and banks are in control of that ledger. It's resulted over the last 10 to 15 years in billions of pounds worth of corruption. The most infamous example is Wells Fargo. They fabricated, I think, like $40 or $50 billion worth of fake money to show their investors that they've got loads of cash in their reserve, when in reality, they were just making up these numbers. Satoshi, who came up with Bitcoin, saw this problem that existed in the traditional banking world and said, well, why not make this ledger public? And nobody can control it. But then everyone can keep track of all the money globally, and it is registered who's sending it to where. But for that, we need miners, people that will do the work, but they don't own it. So if I want to send you one Bitcoin, a miner will validate the transaction. Say, from this account, it is now, he's received it, and now he has sent it to you, and he'll record it and add it into the blockchain. So basically, each blockchain is a public ledger of where every penny is being kept. So that's the basics of it. So now if we apply what happens with the blockchain into the NFT world, it means that we know who owns every single NFT, how much it's sold for, when it's sold, and who owns it. So it means that nothing can go missing, nobody can steal things, it's all public. So that's why I think NFTs found such a suitable home for themselves, is because if this same thing was to happen outside of the blockchain, it would be as corrupt as the physical art world, where people money launder, they hide money, they fake the value of art to then be able to sell it for, or even do tax write-offs. Here, it's not really that possible.
Why do you think people are still a little bit apprehensive? Do you think it's a lack of understanding on what it is, NFTs and even crypto, or is it something else?
I think when there's any new emerging technology, people are always skeptical. I think it doesn't really matter what it is. Even when it comes to social media and when Facebook came around, people thought MySpace was better. But eventually people will change. And I think there's no avoiding the impact that NFTs will have on the world, because it will, and we'll probably touch on this in a bit, it's impacting gaming, in the online VR system, in Meta. This is very real, and it's easy for older people to look at it and say, what a load of rubbish, in a very similar way that every generation does that. I think it's just about modernization and technology advancing, and this is a new system. It has its vulnerabilities, but it's because it's in a very elementary position at the moment. So I think that over the next 10 years, once it's developed and mass adopted, there's no avoiding the use of NFTs in your entire visual world.
Wow. I mean, so you've kind of broke down what the blockchain is in general. You know, crypto and NFTs are both part of it. Crypto is a more directly monetary kind of thing, even though it's not in our normal currency, but it can be almost exchanged for currency in some places, whether it be Bitcoin or the Ethereum. Is that one? Ethereum. Yeah. And then the NFTs are the art version, which still could be changed for Bitcoin as well. What can be turned into an NFT?
A lot of stuff. So you can have. I think there's a lot to get through here. So I think an artist or a designer can individually create their own art as and make it as an NFT, as another income stream. In the same way that you might sell canvases, sell prints, sell clothing, you can now create your NFT and have a visual image. You can obviously have 3D images and video, so that opens up to videographers, graphic designers, 3D designers. But it also means that if you make music, you can make your music an NFT with the image. So in the same way that you purchase a digital track from iTunes, you can purchase a digital track on some site. For example, I think Audius is the new crypto music NFT software, and you can purchase music there and then own it and listen to it on that system, all the way to gaming. I mean, in gaming, there's a huge market for it at the moment. Artists, designers, they can make skins in games, and then you can sell it and buy it on within the game and own it yourself, regardless of what the game provider might do to your account. There's a new sphere in Meta at the moment where people are buying up land as NFTs, because Meta is a finite space, so you can buy land and own it and build a house on it and rent it out to other people. But that land is an NFT because it's a specific area in a specific space. It isn't you can't replicate it. It is unique. So now you've got private landlordship in a metaverse. So the amount of uses for NFTs is really endless.
Okay, it's still quite a complex thing, isn't it? It's for us to get our heads around, because the way that we have been, you know, in the last however many years since digital art, audio, whatever, you know, since the beginning of iTunes and even Napster or wherever you want, how far you want to go back to it. It's still quite a weird thing to us. We can right click and pick on a picture and we feel like we kind of own it because it's on our system.
Yeah.
I buy or download somebody's song and I can DJ it, but it's still not mine.
Yeah.
You, as a record label owner, would you ever put your songs up for like NFTs out of curiosity?
Possibly, yeah. I think at the moment the infrastructure is in its elementary stages. I don't think that mass adoption is going to happen for the next few years at least, whilst the technical aspects and some of the fundamental problems are solved. Sending over files at the moment using the blockchain, it means that these miners and these people doing the work to show the proof of it have to be paid, and they're called gas fees. Some of these gas fees are really, really high, some £50 to £100 to just send a very small amount across. So now if I'm trying to sell an NFT of music, it means that it's at the mercy of these gas fees. There are companies out there at the moment looking to solve these problems, and until those problems are solved, I don't think it's viable. But like anything that's a great opportunity, you get in when it's rough and not ready, and then go up as it comes up as well. So yeah, in short, yes. I mean, you always have to adapt. You always have to change. I mean, when streaming first came around 10 years ago, there was many people, especially industry heads, that were saying, this is not viable. This isn't going to work. We need to sell CDs and vinyl. But now, I mean, who buys a CD or a vinyl? So,
well, do tell me, who does buy a vinyl?
No, I suppose quite a lot of people do buy vinyl still, but I think CDs have definitely died, tapes have died, streaming have definitely supplemented that and replaced it. So in the same way, when things are new, there's always a bit of healthy skepticism, and I think it's warranted. There's too many too many holes and pitfalls in NFTs at the moment, and especially in the exchange of them, that once those problems get solved, I think it would be easy for record labels to make NFTs out of their music, or mass art production companies to sell art and be able to profit out of it that way.
Tell me, I like you, I'm an artist. I've tried to make an NFT before. How does one, if I am either a photographer, a graphic designer, a video, I have this file, I have this PSD, I have this WAV, whatever it is, I want to NFT it. What do I do?
Okay, so it's not the same process everywhere, but essentially you have to go and mint your NFT. Minting it in its simplest form is giving it a certificate of authenticity and validating it on the blockchain. Therefore, it has a direct address, it is known where it exists, and the concept of it is now registered. You can then sell it on a platform. So there's places like Rarible, loads of different websites where you can sell NFTs. Once you've made your NFT, which is probably the hardest work, selling it is just, you put it up just like you were to sell something on eBay or Amazon, and you wait for somebody to potentially buy it. But the hard work is really in making a good NFT.
Okay, so it's kind of, to use your example, imagine eBay. A lot of people in the world know about eBay. It's, you have something physical, it has to be, and then say if you were a sculptor, and then you could sell your sculpture on eBay, innit? But the only difference is between you being able to sell that sculpture and eBay, you just put it up. Whereas with NFTs, it has to be validated first. Yeah. Your artifact, your thing, your piece of art has to be validated first. That's a step that you don't have in eBay. So it's just that one extra step. I think that people kind of get a bit confused that you can't just put it up on a digital eBay. Yeah.
So at the moment, there are platforms that are trying to solve this. So at the moment, there's a couple of steps to get your NFT from your computer onto a website. In the same way that a decade ago, buying Bitcoin was almost impossible. There were no exchanges. It was a very difficult process to get your hands on Bitcoin. Or you'd need to be technologically savvy. Technically savvy, there we go. Yeah. You have to be technically savvy to be able to obtain Bitcoin. But now this process is split up over two things. You need to have a wallet, and you need to be able to have a platform you want to sell it on. It's not that complex. Minting it, there are websites that you can just submit to and they'll mint it. But I think over the next year or two, a lot of these platforms will then have an integrated thing within their own site, and then in the same way that you upload something to eBay, you can just upload your NFT, you pay your minting fee directly on that platform. I'm sure there are platforms that already exist that are close to doing this, and then it's pretty much exactly the same as selling something on eBay.
Okay.
But the cost, I'd say, to sell an NFT is obviously much higher than selling like a piece of pottery on
And you mentioned
eBay.
about the wallet section of this. Is another bit that I think people find confusing. Is the wallet also in that middle bit? Or is this a third website, if you will? So are we working with two websites right now, or are we working with three?
So a wallet isn't, I suppose, technically a website. It's more of you could almost call it like a piece of software. So you download a wallet. There's places like Trust Wallet, MetaMask. There's loads of places that have wallets. You can download the app. And on these wallets, you can store your coins in the same way that you can store your money in a bank or leave money in PayPal. So now these wallets have had to adapt and allow for NFTs to also be stored on wallets. So instead of when you buy an NFT, you can then store it on your wallet. If you want to create an NFT, you need to have a system to be able to pay to mint it, which is your wallet, your bank account. So if I make an NFT and put it on a site to sell, it's going to cost me to mint it. So I need to have my wallet connected to that website. And if somebody does buy it, it has to go to an account. So that wallet has to be linked because, again, the ledger is public. We need to know where the money is coming from and where the money is being sent. So we know that if you sell your NFT for 10 Ethereum, those 10 Ethereum exist in the wallet that is got a registered code that correlates to where the money was sent.
Okay, so our wallet is our PayPal in what we have like now
Pretty
in the
much.
physical. So right,
Yeah.
we need the PayPal, aka the wallet. We need the minting site at the present moment, depending on whenever you're watching this. You still need that site, and then you just need the eBay, the final bit to where to sell it. Once all of these are connected,
Yeah.
and that is the beginning of how you put up your NFT to sell.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing. Then what do?
You wait.
You wait. You just hope that people buy
Wait
it.
for somebody to buy it, and then if somebody does buy it, then great, you get their money. Start working on your next project.
Okay.
But I would probably say that at the moment, I think it's some ridiculous statistic that's like over 99% of NFTs don't actually sell. So a lot of miners are getting paid by minting, but these NFTs are just sitting on websites and nobody wants to purchase them. I think to have a successful NFT series, if you are a genuine artist, is firstly think of something unique. Think of something that is creatively nuanced. It isn't just a copycat of something that you've seen, and make it collectible. Create a series of them. People love to buy into communities, and if you create a community around your NFTs, then people will purchase them. If you just make a piece of art, then nobody really cares unless you're in the top 1% of big artists, and that's why there's a lot of sensationalism in the media about how much NFTs are selling for. But truly, for the everyday man, it's about creating a series and making it a collectible item. And that means then if you release 100 of these NFTs, people will want to purchase them and collect them, and then you can then add to your collection continually.
I have a question for you looking forward 50 years. In 50 years, are we going to have, Museum of Modern Art, and is it going to be mostly just holograms? Or something along these lines? Is that where we are going with this, in your opinion?
Okay, so this is entirely speculative.
Of course.
Of course, yeah, I think so. Like, I think that there will eventually be a position where NFTs will have developed so much so that there's going to have to be a history of NFTs. There has to be a documented understanding of how civilization has embraced technology to the point in which we exist in some sort of metaverse. And the only way that can happen is by putting it in a museum. So yeah, I would not doubt. I know my feeling is no, this is stupid, but I don't live in 50 years. I probably won't be here, so I don't think that. I can't imagine what the world would be, but I presume you're gonna have to have a museum that documents something.
So with that in mind, I think it is probably right you would recommend artists to kind of at least explore the NFT space right now. I would assume if that's where I believe this also. I do think in 50 years there will be the Museum of Modern Art will not have any physical art in my opinion. It might take 100 years. I don't know, but it will be like them sci-fi films where there's just holographic, adverts happening. Because why not?
So yes, I think that people should, but I think that the expectations for how much you can make out of it should be subdued a little bit. It's obviously a bit hysterical when you read articles about people making hundreds of millions from one single monkey NFT, but realistically, it's a good additional place where you can be resourceful. I think if you're looking for quick money or to make profit, I don't think that's going to happen anymore. If you're a genuine artist or designer and you genuinely have a talent that you want to show to the world that people are willing to pay for, then NFTs is just a great additional revenue income stream that you can add to your portfolio of things that you sell on. So yes, it is, but your expectations have to be realistic.
Okay, you have genuinely answered all my questions. We went from the beginning to possibly in 50 years the whole museum is holographic. I just want to double check that I'm not missing anything. Because I know you know all about these things.
I think we've basically covered everything.
We've
all the
covered
way
everything.
from how NFTs work to wanting to sell them, create them, make them, and speculatively an NFT museum.
I amazing. I mean, there's one final thing. You are a vinyl head, a vinyl don, as we call them here in London. Do you ever think the vinyls will stop and there'll be holographic vinyls that you can buy? You can only get it as an NFT.
I've got to say yes. I just have to say yes
Do you look
because
forward to that moment?
I think no, because I think technically, how does a needle go onto a hologram? The needle has to be holographic, but I've got to just say yes. It will one day be possible. Somebody will be in the metaverse and they'll walk in their room and want to play a record in the metaverse, which will be a hologram. So yes, yeah.
It makes me happy that you're moving with the times.
There we go.
All right, cool. Well, thank you, Za.
Thank you, Blue.
It's been eye-opening. Thank you, K-Media. Hopefully you enjoyed it.